Community Radio. We are today, Wednesday, March, guest of the inaugural edition of EDF TV. Georges Tibas from France, Guy Mafimba MOTOKI also from France, and we are still waiting for Monsieur Mubumashiri, who is also a guest on this program. Today we're talking about the opposition's alternative to the opposition, which has 2 years left, to start manipulating what he has always done to maintain power. So what is the opposition's alternative? Will the opposition continue to cling to Sassou's rhythm, or will it anticipate things to keep its place on the political chessboard that has been stolen from it? So we'll have his friends on the stage, but above all, let's not forget that today, even if this date has already been forgotten by the powers that be, is Guy Mafimba wrong?
Mr. Jean-Louis, good morning. Hello to all our followers. Good morning to Mr. Georges Tibas. And thank you for your invitation. Obviously, the theme is the opposition. But you were right to bring up the date of March 13th, because for the younger generation who want to enter politics, they need to understand that the history of the Congo does not begin with Mr. Denis Sassou Nguesso and will not end with Mr. Denis Sassou Nguesso. Secondly, the younger generations, even those of us who are a little further down the road than we are, to show the world that the Congo we live in today the Congo that we are living through today, that we are experiencing today in its multidimensional crisis, we'll come back to this. We have never known the Congo to be like this in this state, in this state. And indeed, March 13th was the last outing of Commandant Marien Ngouabi, founding president of the PCT, head of state, president of the Republic, and 5 months later, he was assassinated. So what happened on March the 5th of September? It was the URFC party, I think, and he was addressing the women. This is what Commander Marien Ngouabi said that day. When your country is dirty and lacks lasting peace, you can only restore its ownership and unity by washing it with your own blood. Marien Ngouabi, March 13th, September, last speech at Brazzaville Town Hall Square. Mr. Jean, Louis, and those who are listening, when I reread this sentence, that statement, I often have tears in my eyes. And I've learned the dimension of the words of Christ spoken that day by Commandant Marien Ngouabi. We'll come back to that so as not to monopolize the time.
So we're going to give the floor to our friend Sharon Bouma, who is not here to speak. Sharon Bouma, who is still not here. So Georges Tibas, you've come to us with a story from the corridors of the editorial office. Which took place exactly on the march of meditation. Ngouabi, a few seconds from your feet, you were shaking, you had the shivers, because it's not every day that the head of state walks into your classroom and starts talk to the students.
Yes, so that day I'm a student at the university at INSEAD, to be precise. It's the University of Education.
Yes.
He was very attentive, very on the lookout. Intellectuals who were returning home, and he'd come to them, and we know that at the time he was doing his research on solar energy, so he was getting into the heart of researchers, and so there he was. I was trembling because I was thinking, there's the president talking to us like that. We vulgar students who don't necessarily necessarily see that it's not another game. There are two of us in the same room, and so we see this gentleman who is
George, you're almost inaudible. I see you're having sound problems. George, try turning your phone back on. Hello? George,
historicity is what I do.
yes, I see you're having sound problems. Maybe try turning your phone back on. Hello?
I realize that I don't realize it.
Yes, there, you can't see it. Hello, Guy. Try to...
Count.
Better, eh? There, go ahead. Go ahead, Georges.
Yes. There, I don't know if you can see yet. I was just saying that.
That's it.
I was saying that the president had entered this tradition that should concern us. We should revisit the historicity of countries. And that we're currently in an anachronistic situation. In other words, there are people who think they've made history when in fact they're in the process of hijacking that history. And I believe that this theme, this story, shows that we're running behind the thread, huh?
There you have it. These problems. Guy Mafimba, let's go back to the historicity of those words about when a country is dirty, you have to wash it with your blood. What's that supposed to mean? Are you trying to deconstruct this concept so that today's young people can put these words in the context of their time and try to make a projection onto what we're going through today?
Page, exactly. In fact, we have to start from the December 12th Declaration of 975, when Commandant Marien Ngouabi had realized that the revolution, because he was a revolutionary, he believed in an ideal, was taking on water. And they and came up with this declaration of the 12th of December, 955, which went down in history because it was like a rupture between what was happening yesterday. And in this declaration, they not only called into question the revolutionary ideal, which was in the process of taking on water, but above all, the fact that there was mismanagement. There were a certain number of dysfunctions in the revolutionary ideal, in the march towards revolution. And he set up a special revolutionary staff with 5 members. Ngouabi, Sylvain Ngoma, Denis Sassou Nguesso, Jean-Pierre Triste Tikaya, and Jean-Pierre Ngombe. And this famous special revolutionary staff was to organize the 3rd Extraordinary Congress of the PCT to relaunch the revolution. This is the very basis of the December 12th Declaration of 955. I'm even convinced that many people who call themselves PCT today don't know this history, Mr. Jean-Louis, but we must remember them because they have faxed history. And in this, the Central Committee was suspended to set up the famous special revolutionary staff. But Marien Ngouabi had forgotten that there were wolves in the bergerie. Marien Ngouabi had forgotten that there were wolves in the bergerie, and he began to notice on 715, 716, the closer we got to the 3rd Extraordinary Congress, because it was really going to have to question not only of substance, of the very basis of the revolution, because he felt that the economic machine that was becoming more or less decayed needed to be called into question, because he was a man who knew how to call himself into question. But at the same time, there were men, as we used to say at the time, the local henchmen of imperialism had to be exposed. It was under these conditions that these famous local henchmen of imperialism began to conspire to neutralize Major Marien Ngouabi, Mr. Jean-Louis, which is why he understood, because he'd been getting signals from left and right, from the bongos who were telling him to be careful. Inside, coup d'etat were being prepared. President Mobutu was telling him at the time and Major Marien Ngouabi, as if in a kind of posture, as I said, of Christ preferred to the supreme sacrifice. As he said in his speech, attempt to help the Congo reunite at the level of national unity, and to those who were his companions in the PCT. Become aware that his sacrifice must not be in vain. Mr. John Louis, if I've held on, I'm absolutely delighted to talk about it. Because today, what's going on? It's the 13th of March, the 14th, the 13th of March. Where is everything happening? In Oyo. The month of March, which is the triple murder of Marien Ngouabi and Cardinal Ami Bayainda, of President Masaba Debedo, 2 assassinated heads of state, plus a cardinal, but there's even a quadruple assassination that's often forgotten. Captain Kimbo Alakaya, who wasn't just anyone, an ideologue, a true leftist. So, a quadruple assassination. And I can tell you that the month of March was the inaugural act of what we're experiencing today. In other words, Marien Ngouabi's wartime companions not only betrayed the ideals of her revolution, but have continued to desecrate the memory of Commander Marien Ngouabi and continue to falsify history. Because the month of March, they never learned the lessons of March from Marien Ngouabi's sacrifice. Ngouabi's sacrifice, they have continued to desecrate. Today it's in Ohio.
Hello, Guy. Celebrate Edith's passing. Edith knows. How can I talk?
Absolutely.
Hello then. Is it a death that this date has been almost obscured, that it has been forgotten? Because you're saying that the wolves that were in the sheepfold are now in power. Some of them at least. Hello, is it to healthy people that we don't want to celebrate this date of the 13th?
A dessert because these people can't look at themselves in the mirror.
Yes.
Look, there's an image circulating on social networks where you can see Mr. Denis Sassou Nguesso coming out of the clouds.
Yes.
Can you imagine Marien Ngouabi? Marien Ngouabi playing at the heart of the personality? The answer is no. They're spending billions right now in Ohio. Can you see Major Marien Ngouabi spending so many billions while the Congolese suffer? No electricity, no misery, no unemployment? The answer is no. At a time when the Congo has become a vassal country of Rwanda, do you see Major Marien Ngouabi celebrating? The answer is no. And so, Mr. John Louis, if you'll allow me, you've given me the opportunity to draw the attention of the PCT Canal history, because there are still Ngouabis in the PCT, to tell them that they're in the PCT, we're outside, but I'm a Ngouabis too. And the famous slogan, everything for the people, nothing but for the people. I make this slogan mine so that sooner or later, and I hope sooner, we can restore the image and memory of Major Marien Ngouabi, betrayed yesterday by his companions. The same companions he led to the summit of state and power.
The concept of everything for the people has even been overused. We talk of everything for the PCT, but nothing for the people, I believe, today.
It's not even everything for the PCT. Everything for the PCT oligarchs. The elephant PCT, I think we must insist, the elephant PCT. Nothing for the people. Nothing for the people. And the Congolese people need to be aware of why this date of March 13, which they have wished to conceal. Knowingly, as you said, we're going to do everything we can. We will continue to give back to restore the image of Major Marien Ngouabi, to remember the struggle of Major Marien Ngouabi by not forgetting this date. See?
No,
That's what we'll be doing on March 18th.
Will Guy and those who embody the PCT, as seen by Marien Ngouabi, be able to push Denis Sassou Nguesso to this supreme sacrifice? As we know, we're talking today about a sort of internal crisis within the clan.
But then again, this hypothesis is only valid if he had brought himself this word from March 13th. But I know some Ngouabis within the PCT who are capable today, because politics is a priesthood of going to the supreme sacrifice if necessary, if only to revive the ideals of Major Marien Ngouabi, the ideal of prosperity for all Congolese, of freedom, justice, fraternity, and national harmony. Because today's Congo is no longer the Congo we knew yesterday. Today, people talk about tribes, ethnic groups, and so on, which was not the case when we were teenagers and young people under Marien Ngouabi.
So I'd like to say quickly, is there anything to say about what our brother Guy Mafimba Georges has just said?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Oui, c'est... It's okay, come on.
I find it that it's interesting, i.e., it's done on purpose, i.e., in the fact of existing. Since people don't know how to exist, they don't exist. But to rehabilitate that history and to remind people that there is a historical channel in a party means that at a given moment the doctrine itself risks disappearing, and we don't know why. We risk no longer knowing why this party was born.
Hi, here
That's
we are.
it, that's it.
Voilà. Here we are on community radio. We're still having problems getting our brother Mubuma Sherry back on the set. I hope he'll join us in a few moments. We're talking today, Guy, as we've said, about how the opposition can pull itself together to make, I wouldn't say barrage, I'm not going to use that kind of term, but can it pull itself together to find an alternative and reposition itself on this political failure and take power, perhaps in 2 years' time, because we know that Denis Sassou Nguesso's term of office, and let's face it, Guy, will come to an end in precisely 24 months' time, starting today. So that's how we're organizing ourselves. But first, we're going to take a look at the current state of affairs in order to justify today's problem. So, Georges Tibas, what do you think the current situation is? Can you give us a global picture? Because everyone knows that there is misery and poverty.